Good morning from whichever place you're watching us from. Uh, we are continuing with the project that we began like 1.5 months ago. And today marks the 30th day since we transplanted. And many people have been asking what we've been doing to the young onions. And I'm doing this so that I can explain the various activities that we've been doing since we transplanted the onions to the nursery bed. We've been taking care of them by controlling pests, using pesticides. We've also been using fungicides to control fungal diseases because, as we said, we are using overhead form of irrigation. And as you all know, one disadvantage of using overhead form of irrigation is that it's very prone to fungal infections because the water is hitting on the leaves of your seedlings or of the plants you've planted in the field. So you find that when it's cold, that water settles on the leaves, causing some fungal infection. So you're trying to also control some fungal infection, and I am satisfied because looking at our leaves, you can see that they are well taken care of. They are ready now to start feeding. And we also did control weeds. We used selective herbicide. And one thing I'm going to tell you is that never repeat uh, an herbicide in your farm. Use it once, because the effect of the herbicides, no matter how much you see it is selective, you find that it has got some adverse effects to the crop. It controls or it eliminates the weeds, but in the long run, you find that it also affects your crop. We've been using also some optimizer to relieve the shock and the stress, but 2 weeks down the line, you can still see that some of the crops are still in shock. Some are also very stressed. We'll also still continue to use the optimizer so that we can relieve stress from the entire crop. Now, as I said, today being the 30th day, so what you're going to do from now is that we are going to do top dressing. You're going to top dress using high nitrogen fertilizer. Remember what we've been using now since we transplanted to the 30th day. In the first 1 month, we are also interested in making sure that our seedlings develop some very good network of fruit so that they'll be able now to feed. In the first 1 month, we've been using foliar sprays that have got high content of phosphorus. We've also been using some other granular fertilizers that are very rich in phosphorus so that they can make sure that the root network is good. Now from there, we are going to introduce a nitrogenous fertilizer, an NPK. It has got also some traces of phosphorus and potassium, but in low content. But the content of nitrogen is going to be high. For example, with us, we've got a fertilizer here. It's from Yala, though I'm not advertising them, but I find it's very good. It's called Yala Sulfan. It has got a percentage of 24% nitrogen, and then you find it has also got some sulfur. Let me read it for you. It has got sulfur and what else? And even calcium in small traces. So you find that you're introducing nitrogen now, so that because this stage of after 1 month, it is the stage that we call vegetative stage. So your crop requires a lot of nitrogen so that it can form the leaves. The leaves, we can say that the leaves are the kitchen of the plant, where a lot of food is prepared for the plant. So we are going to apply the nitrogen fertilizer that is in granular. I've said it's a Yara sulfan, and then we also got some foliar spray. This foliar spray is called Omex. Omex is in form of it's an NPK still with a 24% of nitrogen, 24% of phosphorus, and 18% of potassium. And then it has got some trace elements like the boron, like the calcium, the magnesium. They're also useful at the tender age of the crop development. So that is what you're going to do. And remember, in the video that we did, we said that when you're applying fertilizer, now the nitrogenous fertilizer has got a very high scorching effect. So what we've done, we have first watered our bed and the plant, Then you're going to apply the fertilizer. And remember, we said when you're applying any granular fertilizer, like I've said, the nitrogen fertilizer has got very high scorching effect. So you make sure that you apply at the base of your crop. You make sure you apply at the base of the crop. You ensure there is little or no contact of the fertilizer to the leaves, because if you leave the fertilizer into contact with the leaves, it's going to burn. It's going to burn your leaves, and you'll be starting from square zero. So that is what you're going to do. This being the 30th day, we are going to continue with the high nitrogen until the 60th day. That is whereby you're going now to introduce the potassium, because potassium is good for bulb expansion. All these you're going to tell you step by step what you're going to do, and mine is to tell you that stick around as you continue to learn. So we are going to start the fertilizer application. Then after that, you're going to do the foliar spray application. It is just as simple as that. So the many questions I've been getting, how much, what have you been doing to the crop since you transplanted? I think I've answered the questions. That you also need to continue to control pests and diseases, because once these pests invade your farm, it is very hard for you now to remove them. As we always say that prevention is better than cure. So what you're doing here is preventive measures of fungal and pests. But we had some pests around, like the cutworms, but moving around the conservation. So hope you does this journey, and as I said, I'm going to be updating you. And if you've got any questions to ask us, just go on the comment section and ask us there, so that we can tackle your question in the next video. So as we continue to apply the nitrogen fertilizer from me and from this farm, I just want to thank you for the support, and say it's a bye until we do the next video.